Good evening, everyone. So, we are once again here with our student career guidance program, and like we have been calling experts from various fields so as to make you people aware about the different career options. So, likewise, in that sequence, today we have a very special expert from a very core field, which is normally not chosen by the Indians. Today, I would like to invite on stage on this platform Miss Urvashi Umrao. I welcome you, ma'am.
Hello.
Urvashi ji has been working in the fashion industry since the last 7 years, so both in India and abroad. She has been working with agencies in UK, France, Italy, Spain, Germany, Japan, South Korea, and she has worked with almost all the named major fashion magazines in India and also abroad, and she has also been part of the brand campaigns from Adidas, Zara, Uniqlo, Global Desi, Manish Malhotra, and so on and so forth. So I'll not take much of the time and straight away go to Urvashi ji, and we'll discuss about the career options in modeling today with her, and we'll try to ask as many questions because this is, as I told, this is such an area which is uh, people are skeptic about, so they don't want to pursue, right, Urvashi?
That's
So
very true. That's very
yeah,
true.
that's very true. So we'll be looking
Because
at we'll be
please go on,
looking
please
at
go
how
on.
you yeah, we'll be looking at how you ventured into this field. So straight away on to you. Yeah.
All right. Hello everyone. Thanks for being here. So as Mr. Pankaj already mentioned, I have been working as a model for the last 7 years, and this entire career, like any other career, has its ups and downs. Um, and as many of you might be thinking about like how to start, where to start from, and how this is not really an option for a lot of girls from, say, middle class families who grew up in like more traditional families and all. I also faced troubles with that because when I got approached with the offer for modeling, I also faced some backlash from my extended family who had so many questions like कहाँ भेज रही हो उसको मतलब हमें हमें इस फील्ड के बारे में कुछ नहीं पता है and I think a lot of people probably have watched the movie Fashion. I don't know how true that movie is because I feel like it just portrays a very dark side of the fashion industry, which I'm sure once upon a time all of that must have happened. But I feel like times have changed, especially now, where you actually have agencies which make sure that the model is in safe hands. So what all you see in that movie is, I mean, personal choices aside, like it's not as dangerous as people might think it would be.
Yeah.
So of course, I also faced like a lot of issues. Like I think it took around like 6 to 7 months for my parents to finally agree. Like when we got the contract, they had to like um, look over every single line of the contract to make sure there's nothing exploitative about it. Went through like our lawyer friends, asked well-wishers, everyone. So also it also took them like 6 to 7 months of convincing to make them understand like, okay, this is legitimate. It's not a scam. It's not some kind of an exploitative business to be in. So,
Right.
and now here I am 7 years later.
Yeah. Okay, so just to start with, after your studies, so just want to know when you actually thought that okay, let's start a career in fashion industry, let's become a model. So when that thought came into mind, and how you perceived firstly for yourself, and then like you were discussing about parents restrictions or resistance from parents, and then their watchover. So just would request you to elaborate on that. I mean, how you started venturing. Okay, let's pick a modeling career.
So it's kind of like my story is a bit different because I had no aspirations at all to be a model, none at all. I did not know anything about the fashion industry. I was purely into academics. I did not even know that there was a fashion industry, to be honest. Most of us do not even think about things like that. We see all these advertisements on screen. We just think of Bollywood. We don't even think that a whole modeling and fashion industry exists. It's just like it's not something that passes through like a common person's mind. So my story is a bit different because it was not my choice to actually become a model in the beginning. I was actually approached by a modeling agency. So I was studying in college in Mumbai, and during one of these college fests where a lot of other colleges also they come to compete. So I was literally just wandering around with my friends there. And apparently, this my agency, my current agency, they had a stall put up there where they were looking for prospective future faces and stuff. So that's where they approached me and asked me, started talking to me about like, hey, how are you? Who are you? What's your name? How old are you? And stuff. Then they told me that they run a modeling agency. And at first, it did not really register in my mind. I was a bit confused because I have never received attention from someone like this, someone saying that, oh, she can be a model. Like, I've always been skinny in my life, but people just like nobody would ever have like imagined this kind of a career for me. For some reason, I don't think anyone ever thought of this. So I was a bit confused. I thought maybe these people are related to the college. Maybe they're doing something for the college. So I agreed. Like they asked me if they can take pictures of me in their booth, and I was like, okay, let's do that. And then they took my details as well. And then I completely forgot all about that moment. I think it was 1 month later that they contacted me again and they said, like, okay, so we are a modeling agency and we would like to like talk with you and you want to meet you again, take some pictures and see if you are fit for our agency. That's how it began. So I went for that um, with my cousin brother and everything seemed fine. And the next day itself, they told me they wanted to sign me. And then this whole process started where now I needed to convince my family, like, hey, are you okay with this? I'm fine with for me, honestly, I left the decision to my parents for me because I never knew anything about modeling. So not doing modeling would not have also been a great sacrifice because it was not my dream to begin with. So I just left the decision to my parents thinking कि अगर आपको लगता है कि मुझे करना चाहिए मैं कर लूंगी आप नहीं चाहते मुझे करना चाहिए तो मैं नहीं करूंगी. It was like that for me. My mother was actually pretty excited and she was the one who was in the forefront of pushing this idea and making my dad feel okay with it and then talking with the others and making telling all the like my extended family कि नहीं मैं चाहती हूँ कि ये करे. And that started the whole 6-7 month process of going over, like I mentioned, every single line of the contract to make sure कि यहाँ पर कुछ गड़बड़ नहीं है. That's basically how it began. So I'm not one of those people who wanted to become a model. It just like happened to me by accident, and then I grew into it, and eventually now I'm at the space where I can actually say like I enjoy my work, and it has like made me into the person that I am today. Oh, I'm sorry, Pankaj, your mic is on mute.
Yeah, sorry. So you mentioned that the agency contacted you and they told that they asked for your bio and all. Am I audible? Urvashi, hello.
Yes,
Yeah.
I can hear
So
you.
they,
Yes.
yeah. So they asked about you. So just wanted to know. So people have this question in mind that what is the best age to start thinking or to venture into modeling, and what are the basic minimum eligibility criteria, if any? So these are the two questions that people think of: age and minimum basic criteria, eligibility criteria.
Um, Age-wise, I feel like there is not that much of a barrier. I think the youngest models, at least in India, that I've known, have started at 16. But I feel like this is purely a personal choice because I started at 20. I always feel like the older you are, the better you are equipped to deal with the things that happen with this career because it is not an easy career. So the younger you are, it's kind of you are more impressionable at that age. You might get into just like the way this industry works, it's not always good. So I feel like the younger you are, it would be like it could affect you in a different way than if you're older. But that being said, I've had friends who were 16 when they joined. They're all completely like happy with the industry again, have their ups and downs as well. They've been doing well. And for people who want to start before they're 18, some agencies, I think most agencies, if not all, they make sure that since these kids, like these people are minors, they are treated accordingly. Like if you have a shoot happening, you would always have a guardian, a parent, or another agent present on the shoot with you to make sure everything goes smoothly. So in that way, age is not really a barrier. uh, as to eligibility criteria first, now the industry diverse, and you need to have a certain height. um, when I started, I was, I think, the shortest model in the industry, and I am like around 5'8". Now conditions have become better because now there are models who are smaller in height than me, say like 5'6" or something, and it's perfectly fine. If you have that kind of face, even younger, like models who are even shorter have done it. I know a model who's probably only like 5 foot or something. She's pretty short, but she has carved like a completely separate kind of a niche for herself. So even if you're shorter, it can be done, but I have to say it will be more difficult. Height is the first criteria that agents look for. So that's what my agents told me when I asked them, how did you pick me out from a crowd? Because there's so many people in the college fest. They said, the first thing we look for is someone's height, and if they have a certain body frame. By body frame, I mean, you, of course, like, as I think it's kind of obvious that models have to have a certain body size. Like, you need to be kind of on the slim and slender side. So that's the basic eligibility criteria. Uske aage, it depends on what the agency itself is looking for. If they think that you have the face to be a model. But yeah, basic eligibility criteria is, yeah, you need to have the height and the build.
Okay, so you mentioned this word face 2 3 times in your this discussion. So what actually you mean by a face? Because people are also confused with this thing that face means you have to be very beautiful, very fair, things like that. So what is the exact criteria on the word face for the agents who are looking up for models?
So that's a tricky question for me to answer because even though I've been in the industry for long, I cannot. Our ideas of beauty are so subjective. What you and I think is beautiful is not what modeling agencies think. Like honestly, modeling is not about beauty at all. It's really not. It's about having a very photogenic face. Like if I'm walking out on the streets, someone, if say sorry, if you even remove my hat, I don't think people are gonna look at me and like, oh my god, she's so gorgeous, she must be a model. There's like a like, because beauty is like, I think our idea of beauty in modeling comes from all these Bollywood people we see who are doing endorsing brands and stuff, and people who are coming into modeling from beauty pageants. To be honest, this is not true. Like this is a very small part of the actual industry. The industry is not looking for beauty, they are looking for unique faces, faces that actually look good in front of the camera. um, and this is a thing, like people who you might think is pretty in real life might not photograph very well in a camera, and vice versa is also true. Like you might think a certain person does not qualify for your standards of beauty, but they look stunning in pictures. So that's like, I cannot explain because like I said, every agency has their own particular idea of what they're looking for. So it's like, if you go and check out the models on the page, you'll find that okay, some of them actually have, like, some of them will be pretty, of course, because you have a commercial market in India, especially for advertising and all, you need pretty faces for that. But a lot of them would be like very sharp faces, not faces you would instantly call like, oh my god, this is so beautiful, but something striking about that face, having a jawline, having like high cheekbones, things like that. So this is something that is like honestly entirely out of your hands. It's something the agencies tell you. Like I said, it depends on what they are looking for. If they can see, if they can see that you have them, that you have that in you to be a model. Even if you look at all the fashion models abroad, they will not fall into your idea of beauty at all.
Right.
Um, and when I started out, this actually came as a shock to me because I, like any other person, thought, okay, you need to be beautiful to be a model. But the kind of models I've seen abroad has really broadened my idea of what beauty actually means and how subjective it really is. You will look at certain models, especially international ones, and you will straight up, the first thing that comes into your head is probably going to be like a very negative thought. It'll probably be like, oh my God, this person does not look nice at all. But the way they photograph in pictures, it makes them look so striking, like they are the perfect. fit for like garments and everything, and that's why they get chosen. Because yeah, everyone's idea of beauty is so different. It's about having that kind of like I said, certain elements to look out for would be like a sharp jawline or high cheekbones or something like that.
Yeah. Okay, so like you mentioned your case, you were in college and then you got approached by the agencies itself directly, right? But for
Hmm.
someone who actually in itself wants to become a model, so there are two, three questions in line with that. That how to prepare to be a model. I mean, to start as a career as a model, and then how the person can approach these kinds of agencies which are available, which later on take them and portray them as models in different platforms.
Okay, so the easiest way to start modeling is like the first thing you need to do is you need to find an agency, because freelancing and modeling is a very tough job. That's where the exploitation part of the industry might come in, especially if you're going for modeling that happens through like advertising and Bollywood side and all. I do not know much about that side, to be honest, because I have been away. Like that is not my area at all. But finding an agency is the first step, and actually applying to agencies is very easy. Now, all of these agencies have their own websites where they have a section called Become a Model or Contact Us or something like that. If you click on that, all the websites will mention particular steps, which are very simple. You usually have to send them very straight Polaroids. Polaroids are what we call pictures, like straight pictures of our face and our body. And they're like very easy to take. You just have to wear something very basic with something which shows off your figure. So, like skin tight clothes, and you just have to like show like your front profile, you go like side profile, you go the other side profile, and you show your full body, again your profiles. That's about it. Like there will be some variations in every website you visit, but it's pretty much similar to that. So it's actually very easy to apply. You just have to go to the model hunt at this particular location, this particular venue, and then models, whoever wants to become a model, they can always come in and the agents will meet them and see if they want them. So that also happens.
Okay, so and then you mentioned that these are the ways to contact the agencies. Now,
Hmm.
like the first question was that person wants to become a model. I mean, the person wants to pick the career as a model. So, what are the basic? I mean, if we talk about diet, if we talk about physical exercises, or what are the other areas that the person should be working upon as a, I mean, person inside and outside both. So, what should the person do?
So again, in this area, my personal experience was very different from what a normal person would face, because normally most people are told, like if they have to become a model, they are told like, "No, you need to drop your weight, you need to become a
Yeah.
certain size." For me, it was actually the opposite. I was so skinny that they told me, "Ki, you have to put on weight if you want to become a model." For my experience was like completely different there. But honestly, in terms of like, if you feel like you are in that slim body frame, like, just like a nice figure, you're tall and stuff, you don't really have to do anything specific, at least in the beginning. If you feel like, okay, of course, that's like a more personal thing. If you feel like you're feeling confident with your looks and all, go for it. And if the agency really sees something in you, because they have the eyes, they are very far sighted in certain ways, they can actually tell you, okay, we think you can be a model, but you need to like lose a few kilograms here and there, so they can actually guide you on what to do. My agency, for instance, because I was really struggling to gain weight, I've always been a very skinny person, they actually contacted me. They put me in touch with a really good trainer who trains other models as well, and I've been training with him since like the last 7 years or something. So they actually like, agents who are like genuinely interested in your career will actually help you, or you can just actively ask them like, "Hey, what do you think I need to do?" Otherwise, of course, exercise is the best for everyone. Like that's a no brainer. Of course, you have to work out. You cannot afford to go above a certain weight. You cannot really, there are categories for curvy models as well, but that's again a different criteria, because even curviness has a certain standards. Like it does not mean just like being fat or something. It's like a completely different criteria. But honestly, like, I think, I like, this is my assumption, but I'm assuming that if someone in their minds, they have an idea to be a model, they must know that they have the height and they have a certain body figure that makes them think that they can do well in modeling. After that, it's on them. You can of course exercise. You can, if you feel like you can uh, lose some weight or gain some weight to make your features look sharper, your body look good, of course go for it. But otherwise, I feel good agencies and good agents will actually help you out with the process by telling you where you can improve, and how you can um, target certain aspects of your figure, like what kind of workouts you should be doing. If you want suggestions about diets, even though I do not suggest asking agents about diets, that's something should be you between you and a nutritionist, but they will try to help you as best as they can, because in the end, the way agencies work, um, if you get work, they get work. So they have like your career is important to them as well. If you're not working, it kind of falls on them as well. So I feel like, um, especially from my personal experience, you don't really need anything very specific, but if you have a general idea of like, okay, I have the height, I need a certain figure, it's gonna work out, and then you just ask them for advice. Okay, hey guys, what do you think I should do? Should I lose weight? Should I gain weight? What do I do? That's basically how it works. Or just like, or just keep, if you really have doubts, then you can always look up how the other models look. Like you can check their social media, you can check their pictures, you can check agency websites on how the other models look, because agency websites will always have like a section with people's polaroids. Like I said, mentioned, polaroids is just like straight pictures of you, no makeup, nothing. So you can always check those to see, okay, so this is the body type I need to be aspiring towards, and that might give you an idea on where to start.
Okay. So one more thing regarding that agencies only, like you told that there will be websites in which it will be mentioned become a model, right? So
Yes, yes.
like we have seen this air hostess business, right? So in that, people actually, there are institutions wherein they will be taking girls or boys in to train them and then put forward. So are
Hmm.
something like that also for this modeling industry?
Um, Honestly, I don't think agencies are in charge of that. There might be, I think all of this happens mainly for beauty pageants. I may be wrong, but I'm not sure if this actually happens for modeling. Although I remember I do have a model friend who used to study in a certain college in Bangalore. I cannot remember the name. They actually used to have like a model training program where they would teach girls how to walk and stuff. But I personally have never heard of them unless it's part of like a beauty pageant thingy where they're trying to teach you how to participate in beauty pageants. I don't really think you get like, yeah, I'm not really entirely clear about this area because I've never really heard about this. I've never heard any model ever talk about any experiences of joining an institution. I don't even know if
Okay.
they have a thing.
Okay, because these kinds of questions are also there in the minds of the people who aspire to do to become a model. So again, one very, I mean, maybe it can be personal also, and depends on maybe model to model. So uh, see, it's a career. So why we choose a career? Because we also want to make money. Okay, so
Hmm.
in terms of this finances, how good or bad is this field? Like you were telling in the intro also that there will be ups and downs, so these ups and downs are basically the opportunities that you people get, or and the finances associated with it, or in what terms these ups and downs are there? Yeah.
Okay, so finances are the one of the main ups and downs that happen, because the main downs of being in this agency is that you have literally no financial security. You are not employed by your agency. So like, if you work for a company, you're considered an employee, right? When you have an agency, you're not considered an employee. You are like, if you have to tick a box, you will literally be called self-employed. The whole task of an agency is to make sure you get jobs. They basically act like a broker, like how
Right.
brokers find you houses and stuff. That's how basically agencies work. So you
Yeah.
are not getting a income from them. You are getting income from the clients who are booking you for the job. So the biggest con of this industry is that, which leads to many downs as well as ups, is like your finances are not guaranteed. Some months you might find a lot of work. Other times you might be sitting for months without any work. Like there's a lot of waiting. You need to have like a lot of patience to be in this industry, because like I had my moments when there would be like long periods of time when I would not have work that would be paid, because especially in India and most of the countries, magazine shoots are not really paid because they are meant for exposures. Like, we are putting you in our magazine, you're getting exposure because of it. So we will not pay you. So there was a point when I was doing nothing but magazine shows, which is great for my portfolio, but it's not getting me any money. So that's like one of the biggest downs that I can talk about, is like financial security is just not there. So you have to be very careful with the money you earn. You cannot really, like, if you're a sensible person, you will realize it's not really, you cannot afford to be very rash with your money, because you think like, acha abhi kaam aa raha hai, next minute there would be nothing. Like, you never know like how the industry is going to flip. Like, people's minds keep on changing it every minute. You're not working at one time at all, the other time you're working a lot. That is, I feel, like the biggest down that happens in
Okay.
modeling.
Yeah. So, I mean, you mentioned that these ups and downs are there. So, just a question from your personal life. I mean, you started, and then, I mean, just want you to elaborate about the your journey. I mean, you were picked from that college, and then how things happened. So that we just want to know. So, in between, we would like to hear from you that was there any point that you thought, okay, this is not the field. Maybe I can go back to something else. So these things we want to hear more from you.
Okay, so in my personal journey, I have to say there were many points where I thought about quitting because things were really not going well. So my agency is actually a very prestigious agency. It's one of the best agencies in India, the one that I have right now. So they already have a lot of names. If you're signed with that agency, you actually end up getting a lot of attention from clients and all. So in my case, that's why as soon as I started modeling, I was doing all these fashion. Literally, I think I've done every fashion magazine that there, every major fashion magazine that there is, multiple times as well in India. And I was getting a lot of attention from international agencies as well. So as soon as I started, but the problem is, like, especially if you move internationally, there is, the competition is immense. It's way too much. You can never fathom how it's gonna go. So for me, even though I was placed internationally and I had a good agency in India, for the first, say, like, couple of years, things were like, again, the things are moving in a very, like, the graph was very skewed. It was not like everything is going fine because I was doing a lot of magazine shoots, but actual paid work, I had a bit of a difficulty in getting paid work. One of the reasons for that is because in India, back, I'm talking about like 2016 when I started properly, the Indian market was still looking for girls who were slightly more on the bigger side. See, I was, like I mentioned, I've always been very, very skinny, to the point where agencies have to tell me, like, no, you cannot be this skinny to be a model. You have to put on weight. So I struggled with that because I would go to all these castings where the clients would be super interested, like, oh no, we really want to book her. But I put on the clothes, they don't fit me. That happened quite a lot, because of which I lost a lot of job opportunities as well. And at that time, I was also juggling college along with modeling. So it was kind of like very difficult for me to focus on my diet and stuff as well as do college. So in my first couple of years were a bit tough. Like, good things happened. Like, I also, like, my worldwide campaign, which I did for Adidas, it also happened in 2017. My campaign for Zara also happened in 2017, even though the rest of the year was like kind of like mellow, like kabhi kabhi jobs mil rahe, kabhi nahi mil rahe. Um, but like the breakthrough I finally had was in 2020 when I went to Japan, and it was supposed to be a trip for only 2 months, but that was when COVID hit. This is March 2020. Like, as soon as I came to Japan, as soon as I entered Japan, the next day itself, the country closed its borders. Like, India said, like, we are we are shutting down flights. Japan said we're shutting down the country. So that happened. There, I got like a lot of attention because Japan is becoming more diverse. But when I joined, they were only known for having a lot of Caucasian white models, basically, from mainly, like, you see a lot of models from Russian, Ukrainian, and countries like that. You see a lot of models from there. So I stood out because I look different, and that worked really in my favor, because suddenly all these clients and designers, they wanted to work with someone different. Now they're tired of the old faces. They can see how the fashion market in Europe is expanding so much. It's becoming so much diverse. You have models from every ethnicity, you have models from every different part of the world. So they also wanted to try that, and I got a lot of work. So my portfolio became so much stronger because of Japan. The whole of 2020, I think, was like, for me, it was the best year of my career because of that particular country, because of Japan. And that also gave me like a lot of confidence. I literally grew as a person there. When you're just in India, it's kind of, I used to be like a very shy person, a very introverted person. I did not know how to network. I was struggling a lot because if you want to go international, they put a lot of pressure on you to be a certain way. You cannot afford to be a shy person. You have to, because what happens in castings is you have like 50 girls waiting in line for the same casting. You get like 2 minutes, if not less, time to make an impression. So you cannot really afford to be shy. You need to first of all dress really, really well. You need to dress according to how they think a model should dress like. You should look like a model. You should act like a model. So for me, those were like really the initial years were like full of struggle because I could not keep up with their demands, especially internationally. But yeah, over time, like my growth was slow, but it happened. And Japan was the main reason it happened. I feel like I really grew as a person there. And after that, I think I have been going on a good, my graph has been pretty good. Of course, it has its downside. I have like months of like very little work or something, but overall, it's been going pretty well. But yeah, so that's like I say, like, in this industry, you really need to have a lot of patience. Um, and some people might tell you like, no, you have to push through it. It's like you have to keep on trying, which is good. I say, like, if it's really your dream, if you want to do this, go for it. But for other more practical, more rational people, I would really say, like, if you give this a try, because you actually learn a lot from modeling because of the places you get to travel, the people you get to meet. Who knows, because of modeling you might discover that you had a hobby for something you never knew. I know a lot of people, a lot of models who got interested in photography, they got interested in styling, they got interested in makeup and hair because they were in the industry. That might happen as well. So I would feel like as a model, you should always keep your options open. Don't just think in a very linear way. If you're doing modeling, I have to do only modeling. There are so many other avenues you can take. And if you really feel like it's not working out, like you're not getting enough work, you have to support yourself. You have like other people to support. Then I would suggest you should like drop it and go for the more rational path, or maybe take a break for a while, do something else. If you really feel like, okay, this other job is giving me more fulfillment and stuff, stick with it. Come back to modeling. It's fine. You can, like, taking a break is not going to hurt anyone, to be honest. I know people who have done that as well. So yeah, I mean, that would actually be like my advice. Like, you have to be very rational about it. It is not, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say like everyone can become a model and everyone can be like a really big model. That really does not happen with everyone. I have done well in my career, but even I cannot say I'm a supermodel, because supermodels are not, especially in becoming a supermodel internationally, it's a very big thing. I think it's a very, very small, very, very small percentage of people can actually claim that they are a top model. The competition is immense. Like, you have to compete with literally, like, new models are coming in every single day and from every single country in the world. So you can imagine the kind of competition you're in. So yeah, you have to be very rational about it. If you are dedicated, if you have the resources, if you can afford to actually like wait, wait it out. If it's acha, like, first 6 months, first 1 year, 2 years, mein itna kaam nahi mil raha. If you have the resources, if you have the money, if you're financially secure, go for it, wait it out, build yourself, like, grow as a person, invest in other hobbies, and keep content modeling. But for other more practical people, like, not everyone is like financially secure in their lives. जो लोग नहीं है उनके लिए I can only recommend that give it a try if you have the time. If 1 साल 2 साल का time है आपके पास, then give it a try. If it's not working, then I would suggest you like find something else to do. But again, I also have to say, modeling is something that actually takes a while. If you feel like you became a model and instantly you start working and all, that is not possible. When I signed my contract with my agency, it was straight up for 5 years. So my parents were concerned कि 5 साल तो बहुत होता है, 5 साल का contract क्यों है? And how my agents explained is like, it takes 2 years sometimes, or 2 or 3 years, just for a model, for them to develop a model into an actual model, from like a fresh face to a model, like that. That's the amount of time it takes for development, where you have to do like a lot of shoots to build your portfolio, which are not, these are not paid shoots. They're called test shoots, where the outcome is just to get good pictures for your book. So the whole process takes a long time. So again, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say like, if you become a model, you think you're just going to wait for a few months and tumhe kaam milne lagega. It's not like that. Sometimes the wait can be very, very long. So you have to make your own decisions there. You have to decide if this is worth it for you, if you have the financial if you have the finances for it, I would say go for it, give it a try. It's like a very luck thing. I'm guessing this is how it works in Bollywood as well. You have so many struggling actors out there. Some of them make it, and for those who make it, you always hear the same stories like, "Nahi, I thought I should never give up." And I'm sure that happens, but like because I'm a rational person, I really feel like sometimes it's like it's better to just let it go and just focus on something else. Like that's just like my personal honest opinion on what I think people should deal with when it comes to modeling.
Okay, right. Yeah. So initially, you also mentioned that the age, the starting age is 16, and with your experience, you told that there are times that people go out of it and they don't want to continue anymore. But just I want to hear from you that taking the scenario that the person is going well, but still there will be an age when the person will have to stop, or people will stop
Hmm.
looking at that person. So what basically is that trending age where people have to come out of this role as a model?
So I'm not entirely sure about this because the thing is, I know models who are in their 40s and they're still modeling in India, especially. But then they are the ones I think who have established themselves pretty well. I personally not yet. I've not yet met a model who has dropped out of modeling because of age, because honestly like right now my friends are like all like younger people, so we have the luxury of being in the industry for long. Normally as a ballpark figure I can just say like in your 30s somewhere. As a girl, for men it's different. As a girl you might have to stop. It depends on how your looks are, because this is a very superficial industry. It's literally everything is about looks. So I have the luxury of getting to work for slightly longer time because I have a younger looking face. So at least I don't have to think about leaving the industry for at least a couple more years. But normally, when you think about dropping out, is normally when people start coming into their 30s. But that being said, like I mentioned, I know models who are still working and they are close to being in their 40s now, and they are still working. So that's the thing about this industry. You just never know when it's the end, if it's gonna work out well, if it's not gonna work out well. It's like a very luck based 50-50 kind of a situation. It can literally go either way.
Okay, so in between, you mentioned that there are other opportunities also which the models explore while they are traveling across the world, right? So they pick up styling, they pick up makeup, they pick up other areas also. And we have seen many people from the modeling industry that they are venturing into TV serials, they are venturing into film industry also. So I mean, we also want to hear from you like how these people take that transition. I mean, they are a model, and then again it is their interest which drives them to be in their field, or there are people again, like in your case you are being picked from college, so there are people from that particular industry who look people like you, and then you are being picked in that film industry or TV serials. How it happens, and how, I mean, people really, we have seen that they are doing that. So what is that scenario basically?
Um, I think it's a bit of both because um, all these modeling agencies, they are in touch with a lot of casting directors who do advertisements and stuff. Because I know, because I also have been to like all these advertisements for like various products and stuff. So casting directors are always in touch with the modeling agency. So if they can see a person that they might have their eyes on a certain particular person, they might just pick them out randomly, like, "Acha, hame ye acha lag raha hai." And just like that you might get selected, like you will be called into audition and stuff. So I have one of my friends who recently just did a Netflix series, and she just started with doing ads, because all ad castings are like open castings where you have your regular people who want to become actors, and you also have a lot of models coming in as well. So I think she began getting all these advertisements and stuff, and then suddenly now she's in a Netflix show. I have another good friend who just literally just did a Bollywood movie, and So I don't know the details of how they get picked, but here I can very correctly assume that this is how it happens, just because your modeling agencies are in touch with a lot of these casting directors. There's nothing, so everything basically goes through agencies. There's nothing that goes like in a personal way, except there are a lot of models who aspire to become like, who aspire to work in Bollywood or advertising and all. So they are the people, because they're motivated to get into Bollywood, they start forming contacts. They start getting in touch with these casting directors in person, getting to know them, being friends with them. So that I think also helps. But again, that is not a side which I have personally experienced, or I know people who have done it. Like I know people who wanted to do it. I don't know if they have made it how they wanted it to do it. I don't know if they have made it into Bollywood or not yet. I just remember meeting a male model who said he wanted to work in Bollywood, so he wanted his career to move in that direction. I have no idea what he's doing right now, but in terms of the friends I know, I'm gonna guess it happened through agencies and like casting directors and stuff like that. So your agencies are literally your guiding light, basically. They are the ones through which everything happens, because they are the ones who already have all the contacts, especially the big agency. The bigger, the better your agency is. Um, the more contacts they're gonna have, the more opportunities they're gonna be for you. I think like there are some Bollywood actresses as well, not the really big ones, like say like Diana Penty and all. They also belong to modeling agencies. They have their agents and
Yeah.
stuff. It's basically like having a manager. That's what an agency basically is.
So again, a
So
follow-up question
I
with
think
this.
yeah, the mainly I think
Yeah.
it happens through. Hmm.
Yeah. So follow-up question.
Oh,
You
go ahead.
mentioned that yeah, the this career can span and it can reach up till an age of 40 also, a country like India. So what about after 40? I mean, what have you planned for yourself? I mean, or people make enough money up till working till that age, and then they don't need to do anything. So what is your outlook?
So see, because I'm not at 40 yet, I cannot really speak about people who are like 40 and above. But see, there is a lot of money to be made. I'm not gonna lie. You actually can make a lot of money, but again, not everyone can. And it also depends on which country you're staying. If you are working internationally, then you can actually make a lot of money. Um, but I am sure the people who are in modeling are not actors and all. I am sure they are smart enough to not just rely on that income from modeling. I'm sure they are doing their own investments and stuff to make sure the money actually lasts. Because I told you, like you never know when your jobs might just stop coming. It can just stop one day, and you might just forever wonder, ki, "Arey, kya ho gaya exactly?" So I'm sure they're doing their own investments. They're like trying to find out other ways of getting into other businesses related to modeling. For instance, like I'm not entirely sure what I'm supposed to do right now, because I'm kind of going with the flow, because every time I try to make a decision, my life just moves in a completely different direction. Like it goes like against everything goes against my plan. So I've reached a stage where I just honestly I'm just going with the flow. I have a few ideas here and there, of course. Like I'm studying as well, I'm doing my masters. But I also realize, because I've been in this industry for so long, I wouldn't mind working as a model agent in the future, because my model agents, the ones who scouted me, they are actually, even though the agency is based in India, they themselves are not Indians. They are from Latvia and Australia, and they themselves used to be models in India. When they were working in models as models in India, then they decided that they wanted to like form an agency, and that's how my agency Anima Creatives started. So that is also an option for people like me, because now I've been in this industry, I can understand how things work in a way. And of course, there's the other things that you learn, which you learn when you're actually working, you learn on the job. So that is one of the things that you can do, is become an agent. Otherwise, I'm sure, like I said, there are people who try to get into photography, they try to get into design and makeup and stuff like that. That's for them. But yeah, I cannot really speak about what people do after they've hit their 40s, because I personally do not know anyone who is at that phase. The only people I know vaguely, they are still modeling. So they don't need to like think yet of an alternate career, because they're doing so well. Like this model I worked with once, she's like based now in New York. She's like a brand ambassador for L'Oreal Paris and stuff. So I don't think she needs to be thinking about what her next step will be anytime soon. But yeah, the few options that I have personally have in my head are to become an agent, or to do something like in scouting for other models or things like that, which is something off the top of my head. This is what I can think of. But yeah, I cannot really help with what do models do after they're 40, because yeah, I've not hit that age yet to provide an answer.
Yeah. So you mentioned in between about the disadvantages also, like there is a lot of lean period throughout the year sometimes. So what else? Like in the beginning, you also mentioned about the movie fashion. So citing that also, what disadvantages? I mean, are there or actually are there, which turns people with talent back from this industry?
So again, I cannot speak for every model out there. Everyone has a different experience. Like talking generally from what I've seen with the models I met abroad, not so much in India. I never really hang out with models so much in India, but abroad. People get into this party lifestyle very early on, because it's like you have the money, you are attractive, you have the privilege. Like, you know how people sometimes, like how it happens in so many countries is like sometimes you have to wait just to enter a club, you have to wait in long lines. If you're a model, sometimes you don't even need that, because of the privilege that you're a model, you can just walk in. So that party lifestyle can be a bit, if you don't take control of yourself, it can ruin you in a way that, like, you'll end up having a very unhealthy lifestyle. If you're like drinking too much alcohol, you just suddenly not taking care of your diet and not taking care of exercise, all you're doing is partying, you're not getting enough sleep. So that affects your skin, it affects your face, it affects everything. That actually might be, uh yeah, it can lead to like, it can have disastrous consequences later on. Early on, because when you are like teenagers or something, it's fine, your body can handle all of that. But the older you get, if you keep on, because I've met so many people who are smoking. I personally am a non-smoker and I do not endorse smoking at all. I've seen how much these people smoke for various reasons, because maybe it's part of their culture, they grew up into it, or just like unhealthy things, like, it kills your appetite, so they don't have to eat a very unhealthy way. But they can get into that, and I'm sure it's gonna shorten their career. Like, you might work for a while, but I don't know how these people are going to fare when it's like 10 years, 15 years later. Um, and also mental health is a very big thing, because I said, like, there's so much competition, there's so much rejection to be faced. You're facing rejections on an every single day basis. And especially because of social media, your mental health can have a toll on it. So it's very, very important to get help when you need it, especially in terms of mental health, and just like to stay strong and realize, like, this is all very, like, TK, like, things are not going well right now, but they might get better in the future. For me, I feel like the biggest problems you might face apart from the finance aspect is the mental health part is like the biggest part, because I had to deal with a lot of stuff. When I'm not getting jobs for a while, you just start feeling sort of low and sad and depressed. You feel like everyone's lives are going ahead and you're just like stuck behind. Everyone on Instagram is showing off their jobs and you're just sitting there. So it can really affect you. And the younger you are, the worse effect it can have. That's why I feel like um, people can start younger. I have met young models as well, like I said, 15, 16 or something. But these are the people who also might get easily influenced by the older models into that party lifestyle and all, where you're just like partying the entire night for days and days. And if you're not careful, that can really impact you.
Yeah. Okay. So now again, moving to that social aspect of this career, the family and the society. So how you
Hmm.
personally have dealt with and how you want to tell people who are listening to you that they can deal with the society. How can they convince, if they have that interest, how can they convince them that yes, they want to pick that career, they want to pick the career as a model, and how to face the
So I
society,
feel like
because
mm,
yeah.
okay. So I feel like a lot of problems which Indian families, like say conservative Indian middle class families might have, is when they think of modeling, they just think of something dangerous, think of something exploitative. Um, they might think about how, like, you see models doing like lingerie shoots and all of that. They would think like, this is against our religion, this is against our society's culture and all, which is fair. So for them, I would like to say, like, the easiest way to convince your family, I would say, is like, when you're with an agency, you can literally tell them, what kind of shoots you're not comfortable with doing. If you're not comfortable with shooting lingerie, if you're not comfortable with nudity, if you're not comfortable with this, there are like, and your agencies are supposed to respect that. They normally respect that to the point where if you have a shoot option which requires you to shoot lingerie, they will ask you personally, hey, do you think you can do it? And you are totally allowed to say no. This is very different from, I'm guessing, like a decade ago when models had no choice. That if you have to further your career, you have to do these shoots. But right now we have reached a level where this is not like a requirement. If you are not comfortable doing anything like that, you can absolutely say no. You can stick to Indian wear, you can stick to only Western clothes, you basically have the choice to do the kind of shoots that you personally want to do. I feel like that is one of the reasons why parents kind of like shy away from sending the kids, because they think like, this goes against our values and customs. So I feel like this whole clothes and nudity aspect like really throws them off. But this is what I can tell them, that this is completely a personal choice. You can actually tell your agencies, I do not want to endorse alcohol. I cannot do shoots that promote animal cruelty. I cannot do shoots for smoking. You can tell anything, and they will agree. They have like, they cannot really force you to do anything you don't want to do. So I think that that is one of like the ways where you can convince your family. And just the fact that you have agencies, the exploitation is like really not there, because your agency's job is to protect you. If you're feeling uncomfortable in a shoot or something, if you tell your agents, I'm not feeling very comfortable, the agents also, like, because these agencies are big now, they have a lot of sway with the clients. So if they decide to blacklist a particular client, the clients are going to suffer. Like, the story might spread, Acha, this client did this with this model, so now other agencies might stop sending their models to them. So agencies have a lot of power over clients, and vice versa is of course always true, but this is also the case. So I feel in terms of safety and all, I think yes, being with a good agency, you really don't have to worry so much about these kind of things. And I think these are the two main topics that usually are come into parents' head when they think about fashion and modeling and how safe it is, and what if my child is forced to do something that she doesn't want to do. And I feel like these main concerns can easily be addressed by saying like, honestly, you have a choice and your agencies keep you safe.
Okay. You mentioned that there is to be a lot of traveling in this, I mean, business, okay, in this career. So how you cope up with this thing? I mean, traveling between countries every now and then again, keeping yourself up to the mark, to the, I mean, I would say that to the ramp, and how you manage yourself basically.
So initially it was very difficult because first time traveling, like that was the first time I traveled all alone by myself to different country was when I started modeling. Initially, I struggled a lot. Um, One of the good things about traveling international is like, honestly, nowhere, any place you go, you will always end up finding like, the one of the main things that people have trouble with is food. I think we are at that level where it doesn't matter which country you're going to, you'll always find Indian places anywhere and everywhere. So it's easy to manage. And of course, you need your basic skills for cooking and stuff, because living abroad can be really, really expensive. And even though your agency kind of handles the initial expenses, but your travel is not free. So what happens in international travel is that your mother agency, that is the agency you're signed with in your home country, like in India in this case, they will put you across, they'll put you forward for agencies in other countries, say like the main markets like New York, Paris, London, and Milan. The agencies there in those countries might accept you, like they will offer you, um, they'll offer you a place in the agency. And initially, they are the ones who pay for everything. They're paying for your tickets, your flights, your visas, your rent. They will give you a pocket money every week. But again, none of this is free. This is basically kind of like taking an advance from your agency. It's like, so when you actually start working, when you start doing your jobs, that all that money initially goes to paying off all these debts you have incurred. So in the beginning, that's why I said like it's a job that requires patience, because in the beginning you might be working, but you will not make money because your debts need to be cleared first. And sometimes the debts can be pretty big because these countries, especially places like New York, are really, really expensive places. So there you have to manage. Like again, if you are a person who are disciplined, you will have no problems because you can cook your own meals, you know what to eat. Uh, the world is very globalized. You're not going to have a problem with finding food that you want. In my case, I still went abroad at a time when it was not always easy to find vegetarian food everywhere. Like it was not cheap to find vegetarian food. Vegetarian food was always there, but it's not always cheap. So I did learn how to eat meat. My mother actually um, told me, like, if you like, I'm totally okay with you eating meat. We don't have a problem. You need to learn, otherwise you're just gonna like face so many problems. So for me, meat eating, especially in Japan, because like vegetarianism is not really a thing here, so it's very difficult to actually be a vegetarian in Japan. So you have no choice, so you start eating, and like now, right now, I'm totally okay um, with eating meat and vegetables. I don't do seafood, which is again very strange because I'm in Japan, but you can still manage. Otherwise, honestly, everything is just an act of discipline. Like if you are a disciplined person, you have to work out. I personally struggle a lot. I have my I have like major ups and downs where I'm just like struggling to like, अरे आज करने का मन नहीं कर रहा, कल करेंगे, and all of that. That happens with me. I'm like, I have all these normal people struggles that anyone is having, like how to like start workout. I struggle with it a lot. I cannot claim and say I'm that disciplined person that I'm talking about. I really am not a disciplined person. So my life has not been smooth. I had my ups and downs. I keep on losing weight. I keep on gaining, losing, gaining. It's like it's constant. So for me, even that struggle is still ongoing. I've not like reached a stable, I've not reached like stability in my life when it comes to like having a good body and stuff. Because right now, again, as soon as I came to Japan, I instantly lost weight because I was not eating properly, because I personally do not like cooking at all. So it's really a struggle for me to go in the kitchen and make meals. But otherwise, like I have a lot of respect. That's why for people who are so dedicated that they can actually, they realize, okay, no, I have to work towards maintaining my career. So I will work out. I will eat healthy stuff and all. It's just a matter of your personality. It's a matter of how you are. And honestly, the more you travel, the more you learn. The different kind of people you meet around you, you learn from them. Like it's such a big learning experience. I think you just end up managing. It's like how anyone travels for work within India. Like you leave your hometown, you go someplace else. In the beginning it's a struggle, but eventually you figure out how to do it. It's the same with modeling. In the beginning, of course, everything will be a struggle because everything is new and scary, but eventually you're just going to ease into it. It's going to be fine. It's not that big of a deal. Doesn't matter if you're living in India or abroad. People are basically dealing with the same kind of problems. Doesn't matter which country you're from, so they have the same kind of solutions. You can, yeah, you just figure it out. It just depends on how you are as a person, what your personality is.
Okay. So I think we are moving towards the end of the session. So just if you, I mean, we want you to summarize for the aspiring models how and what they should exactly, I mean, in what way they should pursue this career to the ones who are aspiring as of
um
now. Yeah.
so I would recommend, firstly, like, you have to make a decision. If you really feel you are at that mark where you can become a model, especially with the height restrictions that are there, your minimum that the model, like most agencies are comfortable with, is like being 5'7". Some agencies can go for something lower, but your minimum has to be, especially in India. Abroad they have different standards. Especially in India, your minimum has to be like a 5'7" in height. Body build, you can obviously look at images and pictures of how other models look, so you can have a better idea of what you should look like. And then the next step, of course, is to apply to agencies. You need to do your research. The most of the best agencies are based either in Mumbai or in Delhi. My personal agency, Anima Creatives, is based in Mumbai, and Mumbai has a lot of big agencies. I think Mumbai is the place which like kickstarted the whole fashion industry thing. I might be wrong, but I feel like most of the big agencies are based in Mumbai. So that, and when it comes to talking with your family, I would only suggest that you tell them these things, that it's completely safe in this day and age to be a model. Anything that feels wrong, you can completely and totally immediately back out of it. The contracts which you have with your agencies are not binding. So even if you are signing a 5-year contract, that does not really mean you have to work for 5 years. If in the middle itself you feel this is not working for you, you are allowed to leave. No contract is binding. They have their clauses and all, but honestly, if you have like a conversation with the agents, you will realize like, oh, you will realize that you are allowed to leave, because nobody can literally force you to work. Nobody has the time to force you to work. These people are dealing with so many people on a daily basis. And if, of course, if you're not comfortable with doing certain kind of shoots, like shoots that promote alcohol or smoking, or lingerie, and anything that makes you uncomfortable, it's completely okay to say no to that, and your agency will always back you up for it. They will never push you to do certain shoots. So I think that is like the gist of what I can say. And of course, you need to be. This is an industry where you need to have a lot of patience. You need to be really, really strong. Um, you're gonna have a lot of troubles. And I said, like, when you're not finding work, your mental health can be severely impacted. So you have to get into this industry knowing that this can happen to me. I can become like depressed. I might have anxiety or something. So you have to be aware that this can happen. You have to be aware that this is also an industry which is based on luck. It's very superficial. It's literally your face and your body. So it's all luck based. Some people might like you, some people might not. Some people might kickstart their careers very quickly. For some people, it's going to take longer. For some people, it might not work out at all. So you have to remember, and you have to make rational choices based on that, based on your family situation, based on your financial situation. You have to be a rational person and decide what is good for you. But otherwise, I feel like, personally, like I've had many ups and downs in this industry, many of them. But I feel like they made me into the person I am today. So I do not have any regrets being a model, like not at all. The amount of traveling I've done, the people I've met, the kind of person I've grown up into, it has all been incredible. And I would totally suggest that modeling is something people should give a try. It's really going to expand your idea of the world. You will really be amazed to find out like how much similarity you have with people all over the world, and at the same time how many differences you have as well, like how all different cultures are this like so different from yours. It's like a very refreshing take. You realize that your world is not just like a small bubble of your community or your caste. It's so much more than that. There's so much happening. So yeah, my like all I can say is all the best. I hope it really works for you. I really hope my story encourages you to think of modeling as a profession. And I hope, because I myself come from a very small community, so I really hope my story kind of proves as like a positive story to like all those parents who are wondering like, no, we are conservative, we cannot do all of this. No, of course you can. It's completely safe to be a model in this day and age, and it's a career like any other. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. So definitely, yes, we wish and hope that our today's session and your valuable guidance and words would definitely enable some of our aspirants to pursue this as a career, and they will be able to convince their parents also, because that is the biggest stigma that we have in our society. So we wish and hope that
Yes.
our session will definitely help them. And on behalf of Parivartan, I would like to thank you for giving your valuable time on this platform and sharing your experiences and your entire journey with us. Thank you, Urvashi.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.